good idea, but maybe we ought to explore whether or not there's anything in that funding that we might be able to use for enhancing, so it's not coming out of the ratepayers' pockets directly.
It's worth looking into, because I think there's some money set aside for conservation, but a lot depends upon how they're defining conservation.
Exactly.
I think that'll be up to DWR and some of those groups.
But if we could,
But we'll be able to put input in.
if we could get staff to just take a look at it real quick and see whether or not there's something there, we might get a handle on before everybody else does, so to speak. You know,
Right.
First come, first serve. Could be an advantage for us.
I agree.
We better for this than a choo-choo train.
Okay, any further public comment on this
I like
item?
trains.
And Joel, thank you very, very much
I've
for
got
your...
a couple, I'm sorry.
Terry, can you come up to the microphone, please?
Boy, this voice needing a microphone?
No, you need to get your pretty face on camera.
A couple of things. I think we should respect the fact that part of our income, so to speak, or fees are gathered through taxpayers, non-customer revenues. And I think that it would be in our best advantage to at least provide the non-customers with some of this information as well, whether it be in a town hall meeting or whatnot, with Joel's time and all. I think that maybe trying to attract larger numbers of people in an outreach type of thing has its advantages. But again, we need to really start working on our reputation and rebuilding trust back in this agency. And I think that's one way that we can do it, is try to target to the degree possible the taxpayers and providing them some of this information. The other thing here, or comments anyways, that some of our local schools have drip irrigation and some really neat water conservation programs at the elementary school, and the West Point Elementary School's got that. And so that might be an area where we can target an outreach event, doing that. But also I think that if we're promoting all of this stuff, and again, I apologize for being naive, but if we're promoting this stuff and technologies and all, let's get that operating right out here in our backyard. So folks, as they come in to pay their bill or might have questions, we've got a system sitting right here. This is how it works, boom, 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 and they see it happening. I think there's a lot of advantage in that, like similar to some of the Amateur water agencies, xeriscape programs and all, and I know we've got some of that out here. So that'd be a recommendation for me, is let's bring that technology in here. Let's allow the customers to see how those types of things work and maybe gain support in that way. Obviously, as you pointed out, Joel, and I think that's great, the idea of supporting local businesses. I think we need to outreach to the hardware stores, the Senders, the West Point Lumber, those types of places that also Senders down in Valley Springs, and look at how, if they buy in bulk, and this is a program that not only our customers are going to support, then maybe that's a way that we can benefit the taxpayers of this county by having them purchase in large bulk quantities and then pass some of the savings on to them, in that regard. So I think it's a great idea, Joel. Thank you for your time and all the effort you put into this. I think it's great, and let's go.
Thank you, Terry. No, I think Joel did speak at our last meeting regarding outreach at the elementary school level that he's got on his agenda moving forward, and that'll be implemented at his pace. And the other, I think we do have drought resistant, like his whole, Mr. Dean was responsible for a lot of landscaping here and making sure that are setting a good example for our ratepayers.
And we started it. That's something you guys can continue with.
Yeah.
And Mr. President, I also have purchased the materials for a garden that uses a variety of different efficient irrigation methods. And it's just a matter of getting that set up, and it could be a showpiece for people who come in, as Mr. Strange mentioned.
Oh, great. Wow. You guys thinking at the same pace already. Okay, you looking for some action on this on this item? Do we have a motion here?
I'm really looking more for just support. It's already budgeted and we have the money in place, so I just wanted to make sure the direction I'm going is something that the board supports. That's what I'm looking for today.
I support.
If you have a
Oh,
consensus
absolutely,
of
sure.
support here
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. 5G, discussion action regarding approval of CCWD representatives of the Calaveras Amador Mokelumne River Association camera to expend funds on Mokelumne wild and scenic efforts. Larry Diamond.
Well, I think as the board members know, Amador Water Agency spent about $123,000 plus in leading the effort to defend regional water interests on the Mokelumne River Wild and Scenic designation. Amador requested the consideration of camera and the members in contributing towards these costs. And the item before you is to give authorization to the CCWD camera reps to expend camera funds towards Moke River Wild and Scenic efforts. As noted below under financial considerations, they have about $37,000 plus to talk about contributing towards those expenses.
Well, can I
wanna
make a
take-
comment?
yeah,
Yeah,
go
take a
ahead.
shot at it. Well, I was-
Bob and Dennis.
I was going to say that I didn't ask Amador Water to go out and spend $125,000. And if I had, I would have asked them to allow us to get some input in there before they made the commitment. We also spent some money. I have some real reservations about paying after the fact when we didn't have the kind of input that we wanted to have. Now, it may be that there was some participation on the part of CCWD board, but I don't think there was any direction given by the board to commit any of our funds or even Camera's funds to this project. I mean, Amador Water went out and did their thing, and they did it on their own, not without our okay or anything like that. And there's another thing, too. The next Camera meeting isn't until mid-December?
December 17th.
December 17th. At that point in time, there'll be a new board seated, and the current reps, which are Scott and myself, will no longer, well, you might be, but I won't be part of Camera, and I think we need to put that decision off till the new board is seated.
I think you just stepped in front of me. I was going to motion to table this.
Well, then I'll second that motion.
Okay, I'm going to speak on the item just briefly. This is as far as I think in defense of Camera and sitting on the Camera board currently, the Wild and Scenic or Senate Bill 1199 was moving rather quickly, and I don't think that there was actually time to go back to for each of the member agencies. I think that there's 5 or 6 member agencies that have meetings at different times to go back to the board. Amador felt very threatened. Amador Water Agency is who hired counsel to look at Senate Bill 1199, do some research on it. That's where the $123,000 comes in, and their research and their efforts put in did educate quite a few of the water community. And so it did benefit many more agencies than just Amador Water Agency. So at our Camera meeting last time, we did decide that we had a budget. What is it? Is it 37,000 in the bank, and it hadn't been put to use for several years, and it was not budgeted for anything going forward. So that's where this item to kind of frame it and as to where we're at. And I agree with discussing this. If we can agendize this for our next meeting, which will be immediately before the Camera meeting on the 17th. All those in favor of tabling the item, say aye.
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 Opposed? No. Carries 302. Thank you, Larry. Okay, item 5H. And I'm just going to talk about 5H, 5I, and 5J at the same time. These are a presentation to outgoing board members for their years of service as on the board. I do wish to congratulate both of you, and if Director Stump was here, I'd include him in
For getting off the board?
in what, to thank you for what I've learned from each of you. That'll come a different day. And no, I do, each of these gentlemen have their own talents, and come to the board with a unique perspective, as does any board. And I certainly appreciate each of them, has certainly taught me something, and each perspective. I going forward will share things that I've learned from each of them. And I certainly do appreciate and would like to congratulate Bob Dean and Dennis Dooley. And we do have a parting gift.
Oh, my gold watch, thank you.
And Bob, you come up to the podium.
All right.
Surprised these are still here with as many people visiting this podium.
It's not as big as the last one.
Congratulations and thank you very much. Dennis, congratulations, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure too, so
Thank you very much for your service.
thank you. Thank you for your service as president.
Doesn't even keep time.
And now you get to vote on whether you're going to receive that or not.
Do I have a choice?
Okay, we're going to take each of these items separately.
We can have a secret ballot, right?
And item 5H, I'll make a motion that we have a presentation to Director Bob Dean for his services. We need a second on this matter.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3-0, nay? Any nays? No. 3-0 and 2. Item number 5I, presentation to Director Dennis Dooley for his years of service as Board Director. Make a motion that we accept this presentation.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Do I have to vote aye?
Well, you're the majority, old
You
buddy.
better, or let me have that.
Otherwise, we take the thing back.
Okay, item 5J, presentation to Director Don Stump for his years of service as Board Director. I'll make a motion that we give a presentation to Director Stump.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 0. At 3-0-2, Mona, on item 5H, 5I, and 5J. Going to move on to item 6, committee reports. It's
We
been
haven't
kind
had
of
any committee
slow. I don't
reports,
think
have
we've
we?
even had any committee meetings since our last, so we're not going to have any committee reports, obviously. Any legislative update?
We touched briefly on Prop 1.
$7.5 billion scattered all across the landscape. Some will go into funding some existing programs, some into brand-new programs, but just a quick rundown, it's geared towards state water supply infrastructure projects such as public water system improvements, groundwater storage, drinking water protection, water recycling, water supply management, wastewater treatment, drought relief, emergency water supplies, ecosystem, watershed protection, and restoration. And that's kind of the long and short. As I said, the existing programs, that'll get a shot in the arm. Some of them we're familiar with. Some of these new programs will have to wait for guidance to be written by the respective implementing authorities. That's all.
Okay, any further legislative update up here? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Larry. Reports. Department status reports as follows. Larry Diamond, Interim General Manager.
Just a couple quick items. Wanted the board to know about the announcement of the formal release of the final 23rd update of the California Water Plan after 4 years, I think, of effort. It's divided basically into a strategic plan, the regional reports, and more than 30 resource management strategies now available online. And one other item, CASA submitted comments to US EPA on its proposed rule to define which waters are subject to regulation under the Clean Water Act. The key points of CASA's letter were retaining the existing regulatory exemptions for wastewater treatment facilities and explicitly confirming that groundwater is outside the reach of the Clean Water Act. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Jeff Meyer?
I'm going to defer to Joel at this point.
Okay. Set up his time in front of the mic.
I wanted to let the board know that last Thursday, we did go over to the Calaveras High School Career Fair, and I brought some pictures. This is John Brown. He's a water treatment operator down in Jennyland, and we had many hundreds of students walk by our booth, and I'd say close to 50 actually came and had conversations with us. And I had a list of all the careers that CCWD and other water agencies have, and talked about CCWD is offering a really stable job that allows you to stay in the county, take care of a family, and live in this beautiful area. And so John was able to really reach out and talk about his own experience and how he got his certifications to operate a plant and work his way up. He had different filter material, he had a chlorine example, he had a few testing devices, and we had a photo slideshow, some old pipe that needed to be repaired to show what the infrastructure looks like. And we just tried to talk to these kids and let them know that we are here and that it's a great career, and encourage them to look into it. So just a couple pictures of that. And I also wanted to let you know that in my efforts to work with schools, I have agreed to teach a course, just a one class for a class of Mountain Oak students. They're going to actually come over to the building, and I'm going to talk to them about how water originates in the High Sierra, comes down, is stored, diverted, treated, and then eventually gets to your tap in the house. And they have worked with Mary Jane Garamendi and others, and Linda Mariani is the teacher. And I really believe in having a very active role in the educational system as the biggest water district. And I hope that this is the beginning of some curriculum that I can use throughout the county with boards and staff support. I want to let you know that's happening in about a week's time.
Wow.
And that's my report for you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great news. Charles Palmer, District Engineer.
It's like I think we're already in the afternoon here. So good afternoon. I don't have a prepared statement, but I know we have the new board transition coming in. We're going to have a new engineering committee. So I just want to let everybody know that whoever those new committee members are, I'm here to assist you in any way I can, provide you any information you need. We can, open the books on any project and review the costs and what the overall game plan is on our program. So that information will all be available to the committee members are, in addition to whatever information presented at the board meetings. So currently, we're still moving forward on the Reach 3A project. We're still working with USDA. They've had some management changes at USDA, so they've had to take our application and send it back to Washington as a result of those internal changes there. So it's extended out their approval process. We're getting very close to getting that project funded through USDA. That would be a partial grant, and the majority of it being a loan, and it's about a $5 million project. And then the other major project we're working on right now on the sewer side is the Lift Station 22 project, which is replacement of the upper cross-country lift station. We budgeted $1.6 million. We're on track to be under budget right now. Construction always potentially gets some wrench thrown into things. But we've given Myers and Sons, the contractor, the notice to proceed, and they will probably not actually break ground until after the rains, if they ever come. So that would be April. They may break ground. In the meanwhile, over the winter here, they're issuing purchase orders for equipment and getting the shop drawings done. So that's their activities on that. And we're also working on the West Point Woolseyville consolidation project, which is, the West Point, they're on the old lumber mill site up there in West Point, as everybody knows. And that's about a $4 to $4.5 million project to consolidate those two facilities. Our permits periodically have to be updated, and we have to work with the Regional Water Quality Control Board to get those permits updated. And during that process, they're going to examine every aspect of that facility, from how you dispose of your solids are you meeting your permit limits or your nitrogen levels, everything, so, and your water balances to make sure you have adequate storage, and they're very conservative in their assumptions, so, it's very likely they'll find something that, with that facility, that they're gonna require us to upgrade, and we'll have the associated costs with that, so.
Do you foresee a capacity issue on that, tying the two together? Wilseyville's got a capacity issue. Bringing it together, is it gonna make that issue kind of go away in the foreseeable future, or?
Well, Wilseyville is not, it's only got 28 connections, so it's not a large facility. The problem with Wilseyville is it's just a stabilization pond, so we're taking the raw sewage, comes down the hill through the sewer system, goes into an unlined open pond, it gets aerated, and so, the regional board's probably going to look at that very closely, and, we cannot degrade water quality, so that basin leaches a little. We'll have to do an anti-degradation analysis to confirm that we're not detrimenting the groundwater streams, nearby streams, and so the benefit of combining the two facilities is that we have West Point, which is a low-income community. We can more easily qualify for a grant that way, and we can fix some of our, even though the West Point facility has sufficient capacity, they set the bar so high that, especially in these water balances, that, even though it looks like we have plenty of storage, it's so theoretical. It's like this 100-year storm event that they're looking at, that, they set the bar so high that often when you do water balances, it pencils out that you don't have enough storage, even though your basins may be dry, most years, so, in those, what do you do with that? So you have to show what are you gonna do with your wastewater if you do get this extreme event? You have to show you have adequate storage, so, and that's what this consolidation study will do, is it will show how are we gonna provide that storage in that extreme event. And that's what the regional board requires in order for you to get a permit. Then we're also flying acres, since Bill's not here. I guess some other staff members can contribute to this commentary, but I guess we will be accepting that. Hopefully in December, we'll have an agenda item to accept that. The Flying Acres Assessment District. The construction's all complete. I know, Jeff, you've taken a few drives up there. We got most of our customers connected. Is that?
Just a quick note, Charles is correct, the construction has been completed. We're in the process of hooking up the final dozen or so customers. And at that particular point in time, we're looking in the next several weeks to shut down the Flying Acres water system and have everybody on our system. And we're working in conjunction with Flying Mutual Water Company because they want to shut down their operations as well. And just as a footnote, we are not accepting anything from the Flying Acres Water Mutual Company as far as any of their infrastructure. It is theirs and they're theirs to dispose of. So they are two separate entities, if I'm correct there.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. And so there's 12 left, is that? Is that dwindling daily, or is it?
Yes, it's dwindling. We're probably in a dozen or so, maybe up to 20, maybe 20 at this particular point in time. And customer service is reaching out to each individual by phone and talking to them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And just one last item, Big Tree South Zone project. This is a redwood tank replacement in the Big Tree subdivision there. We've been working with Big Tree State Park staff over our property easement up there for the water tank, and they've either making us jump through several hoops, but they've been cooperative. So, and that process is moving forward. So I don't see that as being any kind of a roadblock to moving forward with construction next summer. So, and that's a grant funded project as well. So, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. Bill Purley's not here. I think Charles gave part of his report. Board reports, information, future agenda items. Director Dooley.
Well, I'd like to say that I've enjoyed the opportunity of having the benefit of sitting on this board for these last 5 years. But at this point, it's kind of bittersweet. I am looking forward to getting off the board, a decision I made some months ago. But at the same time, there's a lot that's been unfinished, and I hate to leave the process unfinished. I had several strong goals that I wanted to address when I got back on the board, and much of that I have failed at, which has really irritated me personally, but at the same time, I realize that these are things that nobody was going to succeed at. So I don't take it personally so much as it's just a big disappointment to me. And I was looking forward to creating a better relationship with all of our agencies along particularly the Highway 4 corridor, and have not been successful in those areas. But I congratulate Dennis Mills for his win. I will give him all of my cooperation at his request. I'm not going to volunteer anything to him that he does not request. And I wish him the best of luck.
Thank you, Dennis. Director Dean.
Yeah, a couple things. There's an Aqua Board meeting the 20th and 21st of this month. It's my last meeting with the Aqua Board. And at that meeting, as I mentioned earlier during Cliff's presentation, they'll hopefully go, the framing document for the policy principles for headwater management will go before the board for acceptance. And if that happens, then we'll have buy-in from essentially 28 million ratepayers in the state of California to move projects forward that address headwaters issues. And we all know that living up here, we oftentimes are at best a footnote, if not just a forgotten part of California. We provide an awful lot to California. We don't get anything back, and this may be the beginning of an opportunity to change that. Anyhow, it's my understanding that later this month, I don't know exactly the date, I didn't write it down, because I don't have to be ethical any longer, but there's a LAFCO ethical study thing where you can get your certificate, and any new board member, anybody that works with a public agency should have one because it's required by fair political practice. Yes, Dennis?
It's the 21st, 10 a.m.
Okay. And it's in the Sequoia Room, which is the Public Works building on the corner of Highway 49, Mount Ranch Road. Okay, and like Dennis, I want to thank you guys for indulging me for the last 9 years, and putting up with me, or however you want to say it. There'll be things I miss, there'll be things I won't miss. The one experience that I've had is having the opportunity to work with what I consider to be some of the best people I've ever known. Not just here in the agency, but elsewhere. Many people are heavily committed to the issues of water, and they do it selflessly. I'd like to think that I fall into that category, but there may be some discussion about that regardless. But again, I want to thank you for indulging me. I thank you for supporting me in whatever I did, and when you didn't, having the courage to come up and tell me what I was full of, which is not an uncommon occurrence, I'd hate to say, but that's the way it is. Anyhow, thanks again, and good luck to the new directors.
And thank you, both of you. And again, congratulations on your retirement from the district, so to speak. And I thank you very much for your time and everything I've learned from you both. We do have the Aqua Conference coming up, the annual conference coming up the first week of December 1st through the 5th. And that'll be in San Diego this year. The fall conference, which would be back in Northern California, should take place in May. But I will be attending the Aqua Conference and the classes, and I think that there's the same class, the same ethics class that Bob spoke of is also being offered for free at that location. Item number, that's all I have on 9. Item number 10, I have had an opportunity to discuss with our incoming board members, Dennis, Bertha, and Terry in the room today, about the moving of our next board meeting. Seems to be no problem, and a consensus. One of the reasons that the main reason that we're moving it is because of the Aqua Conference being the week before, which is the week that the agenda is put together and planned and discussed. And if we just, and so everyone is going to be at the meeting or the conference from the 1st to the 5th, having a meeting the following Wednesday on the 10th, when the agenda would be ordinarily being put together that week. Moving it to the 17th would just make more sense to make for a better first board meeting. Bertha, go ahead.
Yes, question for you. Officers for 2015 will be done on December 17th? Or
I think December
Yeah.
5th.
Yeah.
no?
Not the 17th?
No, it would be at the
Oh.
next meeting.
Oh, okay.
That's when you get sworn into, or sworn at, or whichever.
We're sworn in on the 5th.
They can come in December.
They come in on the 5th, but usually it takes place at the meeting, doesn't it?
Ceremonial.
Yeah, okay,
Oh, we're gonna have to come back one more time?
no.
Okay, so
Let's
that will
try.
be done on December the 17th.
The next board meeting
Right.
will not be on the 10th, it will be on
No, I
December.
said the 17th.
Yes, I'm just confirming, yes.
Oh, okay.
And that's what this agenda item is doing, just moving it from the 10th to the
Right,
17th.
and so the election of the new board members, or officers.
Will take place on the 17th, hopefully. Yeah, that'll be on the
That's just
agenda.
what
Yes.
That's when you swear in.
They're actually going to be, they're sworn in on noon on the 5th, is when they take office and can be sworn in. And I guess if you're available and you'll coordinate with Mona, the swearing in will take place in her office. She'll do the proper notarizations of the documents, and that's when that should take place. But you three already know that, I think.
There may be a lot of swearing before that.
No, that'll come about a week later.
Okay, there's nothing further to discuss. We're adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.
That was a long meeting.